Hey there, welcome to Motorcycles and Misfits, the VMD Special Edition.
I'm so hot and tired.
Hey everyone, this is Liza, and I'm here with Stumpy John.
That's me.
And we are sitting in Unky Phil's living room, and it is it's the end of a long weekend.
Yes, it has been.
AMA Vintage Motorcycle Days, the event that I look forward to the most every year.
Yeah, it's definitely a cornerstone of the whole year for me now too.
Yeah, there's so much going on. I know we talk about it a lot. My faith in humanity was restored when the barrel races were reopened.
Yeah, we thought that was Dunsey, but no, it came through.
Trails in the woods.
Yeah.
All the things I love. All the things we keep saying, how are we getting away with this?
Although I did miss MotoGP
and
Squiggy.
Yeah.
They're always fun.
Yeah. So, what a great time. We did so many things and got so many interviews. So what we've done is we put it all together for you in this episode. Some of the highlights, AMA Magazine, one of the last magazines left.
That was a cool interview.
And so we talked to Mitch Boehm about that. Bike reviews, they had test rides.
Yeah, bike reviews.
We rode some bikes, some we liked and some we knew we wouldn't like, but rode them in anyway.
Pleasantly surprised by one of my reviews.
One of the interviews I was really stoked to get, and thanks to a listener who emailed in about this, Kayla Yaakov.
Yeah.
Phenom racer. She was there. She's cool.
What a great interview. She's so well-spoken and poised.
Yeah. And then we even, Bagel found a really cool interview with a young woman who is yet to get into riding, and but happened to be there and was just like in love with everything about it.
Yeah, that was fun.
John, there's so much that we did. What was one of your favorite memories? Memories, like it was so long ago.
I know, it was like 10 hours ago. The best part about this for me now that I've been multiple times, you start seeing people there that you see every year, and they become like old family. Somebody forgot to turn their phone off. I wonder who that would be. I'll just say, shout out, I had a great time just chatting one night until late at night with Sleepy from Cleveland Moto Podcast, and he's such a good guy. It was super fun. But seeing everybody come by was a highlight of me. Meeting all the different listeners from all around the country coming by, and we're calling Uncle Phil's spot his Uncle Phil's FEMA camp, because it kind of looks like that now with everything we got going on. But we're right down the street from the captain and his craziness at the end, and so having people come by and just hang out and just sit and have a drink and chill it's always a highlight for me.
We had our own neighborhood.
We really did.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome.
But there were some folks. I'm not going to be able to shout out everybody because it's just like 4 days. But just some folks that stayed with us. We both loved Fireman Mike and Emily.
Yeah.
What a good guy. And that was super fun. Chris Connolly is wonderful, of course. Yep. The Moto Hop couple. It's always fun to be around them. My buddy Patty from Jersey.
Patty!
That was good. The Biddles. So fun to see them every year.
And the Bills.
And the Bills.
And Father and son, Bills.
And Aaron, who went to Pakistan with me. Fun to see him. A new couple that we just met, Josh and Minty.
Yeah.
They were super fun. Matt and Kate was great. Luke and Anastasia, the nurses that went with you to Peru.
Well, Wendy, Mike.
Oh, Wendy, Mike, and my favorite person, Montessa. Love me some Montessa. Let's see, Kelly. Marshall and Luke.
Yeah.
Kelly and the captain. We got to shout out the captain.
And so many others. What a great time. So many people coming by, and we were able to extend Phil's hospitality.
We were. We're really good extending Phil's hospitality when it doesn't cost us.
to everybody else. So that was really cool. Hanging out just with people talking. Mm-hmm. Well, I'll tell you about one of my favorite experiences. They say it's not a race.
Oh, it's a race.
It is a race. And by my rules, when you're doing a parade lap, if you start at the back and you work your way to the front before they get off the track, but you do not pass a marshal. So for me, it is to be as close to the marshal without touching or passing them, then I have won the race.
Yeah.
And in fact, I was doing it with fireman Mike. He was out there on his BMW, and he was like, "I'm going to take it slow," but then he got caught up in it, and I took off I was on the Benelli, got it up to 66 miles per hour on that back straight.
Totally insane.
Just winging it, and there was a mini bike with a shopping cart, and there were Harleys, and there was old vintage bikes. There was a 100-year-old Excelsior Henderson. There's kids on dirt bikes, pit bikes. It's crazy.
Lawnmower bikes.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
All the scooters, all you guys on the scooters, Phil's scooters. And then some people on like legit nice bikes, touring bikes, gold wings, all of it. Everyone out there. And I had managed to, by the third and final lap, I'd gotten to the front. And I'm like, I've made it. All I got to do is hold my position. And Fireman Mike, he got caught up in it, and he was with me. And we were laughing.
Yeah.
And then a bunch of kids caught up to the group on dirt bikes, and they flew past us and the marshals. And so the marshals start like waving, and they're up there with the Grand Marshal, Brock Glover, and Kayla Yaakov was up there too. No, sorry.
No, this was the day before. This was
Lyle Lovett.
Lyle Lovett, yeah.
Lyle Lovett. And so the photographers and the lead
Yes,
car,
not Lyle
pace
Lovett,
car,
everybody.
they're waving them off. So one of the marshals left her position to go up and to try and wave all these off. So the entire like group of people behind her on the left side of the track followed her. So I just started yelling, "You're all disqualified." And I got them to agree at the sign-up table today that by my rules, that is correct. So, and Fireman Mike agreed, thank you, Fireman Mike, that I won the race. And it was a thrill, and it was so much fun.
Win a race where you control.
Do you know how many bikes I passed on my Benelli in 3 laps?
4 million.
No, they had about 250 bikes out there, and about 23 I disqualified, so there you go, do the math. But so much fun. It was just another thing. How are we getting away with this? I did the parade lap at Laguna Seca, and they actually do it very slow, keep it easy. No, these guys do a pretty good clip.
Yeah, it was fast.
Pretty good clip. And I also got a witness today. I was behind you, John.
Man.
On a Chinese scooter that went into a death wobble.
I thought it was a tank slapper. If there was a tank, I would have been slapping it. That thing scared the bejesus out of me.
Oh, my gosh. That was crazy.
I would have beat you if that wasn't for that tank slapper.
Yeah, no.
I think so.
Anyway, so much fun. But I think one of the really cool things is that you did an amazing interview with the Grand Marshal.
Isn't he a great guy? A genuine, friendly, just an all-around incredible man.
Yeah, after we turned off the mics, he just kept like chatting with us, even though they're like breaking down tents around us. It was like end of the show. Yep. Everyone's trying to like work around us, and he's just like having fun talking to some fans. Really cool guy. In fact, let's listen to our first clip before we go into the interview with Brock. It's actually AMA President Rob Dingman, who was doing kind of an opening speech on the stage and introducing the Grand Marshal. So I got a little clip of that to lead us into the interview with Brock. So let's hear that now.
Our mission is to promote the motorcycle lifestyle and protect the future of motorcycling, and that's the most important thing I think we do, and everything else that we do helps us achieve that mission and those goals. So we're real excited to celebrate our 100th anniversary. I'm very humbled to be able to preside over the AMA at this important time. And I'm just real excited to have tens of thousands of people here at VMD to celebrate our 100th anniversary with us. And VMD would not be complete without a very accomplished Grand Marshal. And so I would now like to bring to the stage 6-time AMA champion, and he had one other non-AMA championship that was kind of important too, but he'll tell you about that. Brock Glover. Thanks so much, Brock, the golden boy.
Well, thank you very much, Rob, and honestly, it's a true honor to be Grand Marshal at the Vintage Motorcycle Days, and especially the fact that's the 100th anniversary for the AMA, and also the last event globally for the Yamaha, and it's the 50th anniversary of the YZ motorcycle also. So had a lot of wins on Yamaha YZs, so it's between that and the AMA, it's a true honor.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it. Thanks for being here. And of course, I'm glad that you mentioned Yamaha. Yamaha is our great sponsor here this year, and we're thrilled to have Yamaha's presence and have you as our Grand Marshal. So thanks so much. And we look forward to a great weekend. Everybody have a great time. Be safe.
All right, so Stumpy John here at Vintage Motorcycle Days 2024. I'm standing with one of the champions of motocross racing in the 70s and 80s and up into the 90s, Brock Glover. And so great to have you here. Thanks for making a little time for us.
Well, thank you very much. I mean, this Vintage Motorcycle Days has been absolutely eye-opening and incredible. Never experienced anything like this, honestly. It's a hidden gem and an unknown secret, I guess. I mean, how do you throw 50,000 people at one event and everybody riding around on motorcycles and not know about it? But I mean, I knew about the event, but I just never been here, and to finally see it here is incredible.
What did you think of what I call not a race, the lap for history? Was that not crazy?
Yeah, I mean, proud to have been involved with being the Grand Marshal here, and it's the 100th anniversary of the AMA, so it's a big centennial celebration for them. But also to be able to lead the lap of histories here on the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Track, and to be out there riding around. And I guess yesterday was they had to cut it off, but that was a record 250 riders behind us. So by the time we got out, around our first lap, we were starting to run into the tail end of the riders there. But we saw everything from pocket rockets to I guess there was an Excelsior Henderson on one of the rides that I saw out there, which is a bike, ironically, when I was a kid, you couldn't get a whole lot of motocross or motorcycle posters. And when I was a little kid, I had one of those Excelsior Henderson, a poster in my bedroom. So yeah. I actually knew what that bike was, and that bike was nearly a 100-year-old motorcycle.
That's awesome. Did you get a chance to do the barrel racing?
Oh, no, thank goodness not. But I got to see all some of the posts, and it was pretty darn funny. I mean, that campground where you're talking about is just, when I left here on the first night, I think on Friday, just the sea of dust and already people out there starting to do it. And then the barrel racing is legendary here. And I've seen videos and posts and pictures of it, but luckily I steered clear of it.
Good man. So, a lot of our listeners are new to racing or don't know much about racing. So let me just kind of give them a little list of some of your accomplishments during your career. So 3-time AMA Pro Motocross Champion for the 500 class, 85, 83, and 81. Runner-up in 84, Monster Energy Supercross Champion, 21 AMA Pro Motocross Championships, 10 career Monster Energy AMA championships on the 250, 9th on the all-time list on 450s, and 8th on 250s. What an amazing career spanning, 15 years. So tell me, I heard some of your stories early on, your family strife and things that went on. You mentioned that a few times, so clearly that's part of your story. So, and we've talked a little bit on our podcast about some of the reasons we all ride, whether it be some mental health issues, whether it be sort of trying to sort some things out. So what did motocross and motorcycles give you, in light of sort of that challenge you had at a young age?
Yeah, it's but going back to your stats, those stats are gigantically need to have a big asterisk on it, because the current stats people don't even consider the 500cc motorcycles, which back in the 70s and 80s were really
because they never rode one.
Well, they were the iconic size. That was the brand. That was the size of the size of bikes that all the champions like Roger DeCoster and Heikki Mikkola, Brad Lackey from Northern California, obviously our first American world champion. He never chased anything but the 500 championship, and now those statistics are not even included in what you mentioned there. So luckily for me, I felt very accomplished in the 500s. And having won the most championships and the most races in that. Unfortunately, with the invention of the 450, they kind of aligned that with the 250cc bike, and the 125 class they aligned with the 250F 4-stroke. So the numbers there, when you quoted those, I'm not even sure how they even line up, to be honest with you. But getting back to your next question of starting racing and all, it was a family activity we did just as a group. I grew up as I had 3 other siblings. 2 of them were my older brothers, and we all rode motorcycles. And with my dad, most of it was all recreational. And then until my brother Mark started racing, and then I got to attend a lot more races as a young kid. And by the time I was 13, 14 years old, that itch was pretty. I needed to scratch it and had to get out there and race. So that's where I started racing. So.
Did you start out racing actually, or were you out in the desert first, or sort of doing more recreational stuff?
No, I started riding a motorcycle, a little Honda Z50, when I was 9 years old.
That's great.
And that being said, that was, I used to try to ride it every time I could possibly get a chance, and we luckily lived in an area in eastern San Diego County that allowed me to kind of semi-legally, not really, ride a mile or 2 to some areas out in the hills, and then I could ride all afternoon after school. And then that continued on for years. I mean, I honestly, I rode almost daily until I started racing. I rode often, just recreationally in the hills near our house.
It'd be interesting to find out a statistic. How many champion racers are little brothers who started out trying to keep up with big brothers? I wonder how much of it is a part of that.
Yeah, it did. I mean, just for me, I remember honestly, we laugh about this, and especially the fact that I realized how old I was at the time. I was about 4, and I had a brother who was 6, and I had another brother who would have been 8 at the time. And every year right before school, we had one day we went school clothes shopping, and each of us got 2 or 3 pairs of Levi's, and we got whatever the coolest new shirt was, if it was a Hang 10 wannabe surfer looking shirt or whatever it was, and then you had to get a pair of new tennis shoes.
Yep.
And we'd go home and we'd pull up into our driveway, and we always had some neighbors that lived it seemed like a long ways to me in those days, but really it was only 6-8 houses up the street. And when we would put on our shoes, I don't even know, my oldest brother was the one I think who seemed to invent this, but he was everybody got their new shoes on, and we went and raced our shoes. And so being the 4-year-old, I would come home crying in tears because my shoes, somehow I always got the slowest shoes. And so that was kind of the beginning of the competition that's one of my first memories of having such competition with my siblings. And yeah, so later on my shoes got faster and faster, and I think by the time I was about 13, 14 years old, I had the fastest shoes in the family. And so that actually did. I literally started doing AAU track and field and other things at a youth, and I played a lot of baseball and football and other sports besides motorcycling. And then, and then it led on to a pretty nice career.
Nice.
That's great. So, I heard you talk a little bit about Thorsten Holman and how, you have a relationship with him now. Was he one of your major influences in your riding, or if not, who was your influence? Who did you most emulate as a racer?
Well, I mean, Thorsten Holman from Sweden was a 4-time world motocross champion in the 250, but he's also very excellent. I mean, he's a smart man and a really good businessman. And he ended up in back in the 60s and into the 70s, there were 2 major countries that dominated world championship motocross. One of them was Belgium, and the other one was Sweden. And Thorsten, again, his nickname is Mr. Motocross. He was very precise, great riding style, but then later on got into a business side of things and developed his own clothing line, the Thorsten Holman leathers, right, which were goat skin material, and then so everybody knew they were goat skin leather. They were the premier, like Louis Vuitton of leathers, but all the top riders,
lighter than Bates.
All the top riders wore them, and trust me, that was the first pair I ever bought. I saved and saved and saved because they were 3 times more expensive than the average pair of leathers. But that's what the real motocrossers wore in Europe. So, but Thorsten was he is a magnificent guy. He was the Yamaha importer for the country of Sweden. I mean, he's done so many business attributes, and his family's very successful. So he was somebody that you certainly could look up to. I mean, and then we had other eras of the Belgians of Roger de Coster and Joël Robert and riders like that. And these guys actually, I mean, it's pretty cool that people, I think you're from the Santa Cruz area, De La Viega State, the park there. There's a golf course there, and they actually raced motocross on where the golf course is today.
There's a few locations. Our town dump used to be a racetrack, and we've been trying to dig up some of that history.
Well, I can tell you right now, I'm positive that the De La Viega, where the golf course is, was where one of the big Inter-Am race for international riders care, because I've literally seen receipts where Joel Robert stayed at the Santa Cruz Motel, and somehow a shower curtain got damaged, and they sent the promoter an invoice for like $11.14 to repair it, and I've seen that receipt. So a gentleman in Houston has some of that memorabilia, which is very, very cool, because I have some dear friends that live in that whole area, in the Scotts Valley, the Santa Cruz area, and I know it well. So it's fun for me to look back at the history of it. But getting back to the who were influences in my life, probably the strongest, closest to me personally would have been Marty Smith, who was our first national champion in the 125 class, and 74, 75 national champion, and he was a local San Diegan. He was really America's first superstar motocross rider.
Yeah, very good. And then, of course, you raced with Bob Hanna. I think you passed the torch to Jeremy McGrath and some Ricky Carmichael. How do you see your place in that continuum of racers, from the Hallmans and the Europeans all the way to the current day?
Well, I mean, for me, I definitely liked motocross a lot more than I liked supercross. I really didn't focus so much on supercross. So McGrath to me was a supercross, more or less supercross specialist. Carmichael was the gentleman who ended up finally breaking. I had 6 national championships. Ricky was the guy who finally broke my record in the mid 2000s there. So for me to had 20 years being the rider who had the most national championships was pretty good. It was nice for me to have the little feature there. And again, I feel like even in my AMA Hall of Fame speech, I kind of used the Chinese proverb where one generation, plants a tree and the other one gets the shade. So I kind of feel like as each generation comes along, the previous generation has, I don't know, a little bit of, obligation to kind of help try to make the sport a little better. And pass the torch and just leave it a little better place. So I enjoy that part of it, and I still am heavily involved in our sport from all aspects of it, including being the chairman of the Motocross and Supercross Committee for the AMA Hall of Fame. So I really want to, the Hall of Fame has really come a long ways, and it's getting much more prestigious.
That's great.
And I really want it to be at the level where I feel it should be for our sport.
So of all your accomplishments, when you look back, you're like, that's my favorite. That was my most joyous moment in racing.
In racing, yeah. My personal accomplishment is just being a parent, and
they all say that.
And it's just, I have 2 wonderful children, and get to celebrate my 30th anniversary here in a couple days. So it's but racing motorcycles, I think a lot of people, I'm the youngest rider to ever win an AMA national motocross race, and I did it barely, just turned 16 is your minimum age, and I was 16 in a month and a half or 2 months when I won it. So that being said, it's kind of a pretty, that's a pretty amazing thing for how many years we've been racing motocross to have not had that record broken in 50 plus years. And but the David and Goliath story probably is everybody thinks back at the 1985 500 championship, where I did it on a bike that was already long in the tooth in development. It was a production-based motorcycle when the other teams were still running full works machines. And the Hondas, the 84, 85 Honda 500cc factory bike was probably to this day known as one of the most exotic, the most technologically advanced, versus the competition at the time machine, and to have beat those bikes and the riders riding them and other bikes on a totally stock bike that you could buy off the showroom floor, that was what many people still remember me by, winning that air hammer. I think if you Google the word YZ490, my name seems to come up with it most of the time. So
that's great. So a couple more questions and we'll let you go. I heard about this, perhaps an award-winning movie that you were part of in 1987. and you played a rich playboy that hates motorcycles. It was called Winners Take All. Tell me about your experience on Winners Take All and how awesome that movie has become over the years.
Well, it's one of the most frustrating things in my entire life because I've been standing by the mailbox waiting for that Oscar, and I don't understand how could the Oscars, how that committee could be passing up that role there as Carl, the obnoxious, whatever, spoiled punk Corvette driving, like you said, almost trust funder country club boy. But darn it, my girlfriend was, she liked dirt bikes, and she liked those guys that rode dirt bikes, and somehow I think I lost out. And I have a funny story because I was standing around the Lawrence brothers, so Jet and Hunter are two of the more dominant riders right now. And then one of their teammates, Chance Hymas, says to me, they're having dinner, and he says, how did you let Rick Mellon take your girl there? I mean, how did you lose out on that thing? And he was referring to that movie where I lost my girlfriend Judy in that movie. But it was to get back to a little more serious about it. I was injured at the time. I had a broken wrist, and I was trying to rehab, and I had some friends who worked in the stunt industry, and when they heard they were working on a movie that was about motocross and supercross, first call I think they made was to me and said, hey, we need to get you in here for a little work or do something. You got to help us out with this movie. And so at first I was brought in as a script advisor, and so I helped them rewrite some of the script and also kind of to go down to the venue where we shot it was the old Texas Stadium in Irving where the Cowboys used to play. And so they had arranged to have the track after the Supercross. And so we got down there, and the more we started looking at shooting footage and trying to make sure everybody was in the right spot, the flaggers, to make it look like a real race. And, and then, they asked me, hey, do you have any old gear? We could have some of these guys, wear your gear for your likeness during the movie. So I brought some gear down one of the stunt guys used. And one thing led to another, and I got this idea that, man, we ought to have some cameos. We ought to have a couple of our real riders do cameos. Yep. And the producer looked at me like, are you kidding me? You think you could even get that arranged? Absolutely, it'd be the easiest thing in the world. So I asked 2 or 3 or 4 of the riders. A couple of them turned me down, but David Bailey, Rick Johnson, a few of the others said, absolutely, we'll do it.
How fun.
So it was a lot of fun. And then one point got it that they reached the point, as you probably know in movies, they don't often shoot the movies in sequence and chronologically. They just kind of mix and match wherever they are location-wise, or whatever fits there, and then they put the piece of, put it together all at the end, and it seems to come out perfectly in a chronological manner. Well, the role of Carl had not yet been cast, and I guess I must have been enough of a I must have fit the role enough or something in their eyes. And
Typecasting, maybe?
Yeah. Yes. And so they kind of said, hey, we got something. You have a SAG card, right? I said, yeah. And he said, we might have something else for you to do, and they told me what it was, and I go, how many lines do I have? Well, you got a couple days, you got to drive up here, do this, that, but we can keep it down to a minimum amount of lines. So I think they gave me a couple, 2 or 3 lines, and I think a few of them probably ended up on the cutting room floor, but I know the winners take all line that everybody comes up to and says, do you know how long it took me to find this place? And it was the frustrated Corvette driver that drove down the dirt road to try to find these guys out riding and practicing dirt bikes in the hills, and obviously I was a perturbed boyfriend at the time.
Fun.
So tell me about your current role with Dunlop and the work that you're doing there.
Yeah. Well, after retirement in 1990, I dabbled with a few things, not really, kind of enjoyed retirement, didn't really have any obligations. And after 5 or 6 years, that got a little boring, and I was too young to be retired, trust me. And and I went to work in 2001. I got asked by the vice president at Dunlop that I had known if I was interested in going back to work or doing anything, and I said, absolutely. What do you have planned? He goes, I think I got a good position for you as we need somebody to oversee our off-road racing efforts. So that includes anything supercross, motocross, off-road racing, amateur, pro.
Are they running a team, or is it just dealing with the tires?
No, we support almost every major team and have had a run right now. I don't even want to knock on wood here, but I think I think it's 14 straight years. We've won every single title, everything. We've had probably out of those 14, I think we've had about 10 of them what we call a perfect season, where you take first, second, and third at every single major race, all supercrosses and all outdoors and all classes. And so to be able to sweep the podium for, again, yeah, we've had some remarkable runs. I mean, you're talking 100, depending on how many races there were. I remember one year it was 108 of the podiums were available, and we won all 108 of them. So
That's
it's
great.
been fun. It's been challenging because they're always after, somebody's always after you and trying to build a better tire, but it keeps us ahead of the game most of the time, and we work hard at it.
That's great. That's awesome. So the other thing that impressed me about you is you give back. So you've done a lot of work with the Charlie Hoffman Foundation, over $4.1 million raised. What are you doing with the foundation, and what makes you excited about that?
Our son was diagnosed with cystic fibrosis at age 5, and after I was told that most likely and statistically I'm going to outlive my son, and at the time, honestly, when he was born, I was 40 years old, and it's like, wait a minute, this doesn't make any sense at all, that I'm going to outlive my son. That's not how the circle of life does not work that way. And it was shocking at first, but then on the other side, I met with some other parents, and one gentleman who was one of the major influences of a restaurant called BJ's Restaurant, and BJ's has given millions and millions of dollars, and the Pizookie, their dessert, was invented to raise money for cystic fibrosis.
That's great.
And so this gentleman told me, and he said, I didn't know what to do exactly at the time. Our daughter was diagnosed, and he had an adult daughter now that is still with us and had her own child, and it's a really great story. And he basically told me, he said, I want to be able to, if it ever comes to that terrible moment where I'm literally looking her in the eyes on her deathbed, that I'm going to tell her I did everything I possibly could. And to save her life, and I want to, and he told me that, and of course it gets you choked up thinking about it, and then you realize, okay, what little piece can I do? And so that all being said, I realized I could use my motorcycle influence, and I personally have raised just in the motorcycle community outside of the Charlie Hoffman Foundation over $1 million myself and all the thing. And then Charlie was a friend of mine from San Diego that I used to literally caddy for when he was a junior golfer, and now I think he's number 30. Is he right around the 30th mark in all-time money winners on the PGA Tour? But ironically, we had a cystic fibrosis connection. His brother John is married to a gal, Melissa, who had lost 2 sisters with cystic fibrosis. And so knowing that, Charlie was like, man, I want to later start a foundation, and there's a couple of causes I want to give back to, and one of them was the San Diego Junior Golf Association, which ironically enough, Marty Smith, the motocross champion's grandparents were highly influential in starting that San Diego Junior Golf. So it really comes around. And so then those were our 2 major causes. We have a few more other causes that we benefit, but the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation again is the largest single benefactor of the Charlie Hoffman Foundation.
That's a good question.
Thanks.
Where'd you pull that up from?
Hey, I did my research.
Good
but
job.
Yeah, so this is my last question. So I'm trying to get our listeners to really kind of get engaged with racing, on all forms of racing. So I'm trying to give them handles. So who would you say, like, in the current crop of racers at any class, that our listeners should kind of pay attention to as sort of the up and rising stars that they can cheer for?
Well, I mean, one that comes right to the top of the list, especially for an American audience, would be Hayden Deegan. I mean, Hayden Deegan he's the real deal, and he's a highly competitive and highly motivated young rider, and he's exciting to watch, and he's someone to watch on social media. He's never going to let you down with a good soundbite or two and a good comment that he has. Very confident, but able to back it up, and he's a lot of fun to watch and a lot of fun to listen to. And right now we have a bunch of young good riders. I mean, the 250cc class, which is supposed to be the development class, and sometimes the 450 class is referred to as the premier class, and the 250 class. But the 250 class, I mean, any riders in the top 10, you've got guys that are all capable of winning, and sometimes it's incredible. These riders will be separated by just a few seconds. You'll have the top 10 battling, and they're the most exciting races by far. And then of course you have, right now we have Chase Sexton. I mean, Jet Lawrence is an injury, but Jet was getting, he was at the top of the heap there for a bit, and then he suffered a little injury this year. So Chase Sexton is currently leading that championship. Another American rider rides for KTM. So there's lots and lots of the top riders that are fun to watch, and the sport's in a really good place right now.
Well, hey, listeners, go watch some racing and dig into the history and learn about our friend Brock and the great work that he's done over there. So thank you for taking time to talk to our folks.
You coming back next year?
You know what? I hope it's on an off weekend that I don't have to work. And we've talked about that, how this is this is their biggest event they've ever had. Yeah. So I think the success of having it maybe on an off weekend, I don't know. I mean, I'd love to take some of the credit as being the Grand Marshal, but I know that's just a joke.
Yeah, I saw Dave Aldana this weekend, it's just sneaking in.
Yeah.
People come and they oh, this is amazing.
And it is. It's and there's ages. I mean, you see the young kids here, and then you see all. And what's really fun for me, they've had this very large vintage motocross here amongst the off-road racing and trials and all sorts of different competitions, including road race on vintage bikes, and some modern classes too. There is classes for some modern riders to come out, but you just see so many people riding around some, sickly cool bikes.
Yep.
I mean, these are 1970 something motorcycles that look like they're running like they just pulled them off the showroom floor, and everybody's cruising them around. They're not getting yelled at. It's not orderly chaos, because it's not. I guess there's times it gets a little chaotic. Don't get me wrong. Okay, at nighttime in the campground it gets a little wild. But in general, you can just ride. Like, you got a little mini bike, you got a little motorcycle. They just let you ride from one place to another, and they don't bother you. They're not yelling at you as long as you're not doing anything silly. And what a fun weekend it is. And
nothing else like this, is there?
And the swap meet is insane.
Yep.
I can't even. It take you 3 days to walk through the swap meet.
Yep.
Well, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Very much. Thank you, guys.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
All right, so here again at AMA Vintage Days, and I cornered editorial director of the magazine, Mitch Boehm. Thanks, Mitch. You've been here for a while, I know, and you are the man behind the magazine. As one of the last remaining motorcycle magazines, and somebody who's been in the industry a long time, so I think you remember as much as I do when we were young, and how you'd find the Cycle World or Motorcyclist, or
you
these.
go to the newsstand, you're looking for the latest issue, Motocross Action, Cycle World, Cycle, Popular Cycling, all that stuff. And it's a long time ago, and
one by one, a lot of them have disappeared.
Yeah, the economics of it have just become really, really difficult. And the magazines, for the most part, were basically given away. Subscriptions were $12 for a year, or $15 for a year, or whatever. And so they relied, all their revenue was basically based on newsstand sales and advertising, mostly advertising, somewhat on newsstand sales for the bigger magazines like Cycle World and Cycle and Motorcyclist. And as advertising dried up, when the internet sort of bubbled up into the surface, it became a big marketing element of the whole thing 20 years ago, 15, 18, 20, 25 years ago. Advertising started to dry up on the print side because everybody thought that, online advertising was going to change the world. And it changed the world, but they didn't make a whole lot more money. So anyway, that's just part of the deal.
Yeah, and so I do look forward to getting the AMA magazine, which comes to everyone who is an AMA member. Yeah. It's just an added bonus. And of course, I'm like, who's on the cover? All right, what's this? And then then you flip to the back page to see who's featured there, and then you go to the Q&A, and there's each section you're flipping through. So I still holding on to that same thing I did as a kid, but it's dying out. What's keeping the AMA magazine alive?
Yeah, our business model is different from the majority of all of the consumer magazines. Mm-hmm. Consumer magazines, like I was saying a minute ago, we're based primarily on advertising revenue with some newsstand sales. Newsstands have dried up for the most part. They're still around, but there's probably 20% of what there was 10, 15 years ago. And advertising has dried up. So a lot of the commercial magazines, which relied on ad revenue, are gone. They just can't stay in business. Circulations are not very big, and so when people in the industry sort of come up to me and bemoan the fact that all the magazines are gone, I tell them, I go, it's the industry's fault. They didn't support it. Yeah. Aftermarket, OEs, they didn't support the print magazine, so they died. So complaining about it now is a little bit weird, but we're lucky that membership dues for AMA members pays for the magazine. So we do accept advertising, we do make some revenue off of it, but it doesn't really even come close to paying for what the magazine costs to do every single month. Magazine is incredibly expensive. You have to buy paper and ink, then you have to print it, then you have to mail it. It's a lot of money. And but the good thing is that AMA members appreciate the magazine and want something dropped into their mailbox every month. and so we're giving it to them. And so I think the future for us and for other nonprofits who kind of have the same business model that we have is pretty bright. And the magazine has really changed in the last 3 years since we came in, and we're really focusing on storytelling. We're trying to get a nice wide bit of coverage from government relations news in the front, which is something that the AMA is known for, through retro bikes and legendary Hall of Famers, plus current events, current races, current people, current members, things like that. So we're trying to do a nice little spread every month.
You're filling the void from all the magazines that are gone.
And we hear that constantly.
Yeah.
And the nice thing about this is that the AMA board supports the magazine. And that bodes well for the future, for having a print magazine. We do offer a digital version. It's called Issue, ISSUU. And you can read it on your phone or you can read it on your computer. But the print version is still sort of the main deal. In fact, we don't have a whole lot of people who actually look at the digital version because they don't need to, because they can't wait till for years and years people said, I get the magazine, I'll leaf through it, and I might read a story or two here. And now they say, I can't wait till it shows up. And that's sort of a sea change for us, that people are actually looking forward to it. And I've worked for a lot of good editors over the years. Art Friedman, David Edwards at Cycle World, Art Friedman at Motorcyclist. They sort of taught me that storytelling is really the key to the whole thing. Motorcycle people, motorcycle events, motorcycle emotions. We're all here at Mid-Ohio, and it's just a fantastic place to be, and I got goosebumps talking about it. So, we're going to have 40 or 50,000 people here for the weekend, and they're all having a damn good time. So it's the magazine is sort of a celebration of what we all do and what we all enjoy and what we ride and how we ride and why we ride and that sort of thing. So, yeah, it seems to be a pretty successful formula at this point.
Well, one of the things we do with our podcast is we go out there and we find the stories, and everybody's got a story. If somebody has a story they want to share, do you accept
Absolutely.
Articles?
Yeah. In the issue that's out right now, the story of Jack Snyder and his dad going up through Idaho BDR.
Yeah.
He just said, "Hey, I did this a while back, and I have great photography, and I've sort of written a rough draft of the story. Are you interested?" I said, "Heck yeah, let's see it." So that's one example. Another example, and these guys will be here, and maybe you can even hook up with them when they're here and do an interview with them. It's a father and a son. The father's probably in his 70s, maybe late 70s. The son, I think, is in his 40s, late 40s. The father had a Z1, an original Z1 back in the day, and he gave it to his son 20, I'm guessing, I don't know all the details yet, maybe 20 years ago, and it was sort of ratty, and it just sat in the garage, and was, so the kid on his own started restoring it. It took him 6 or 7 years, and he kept it quiet from his dad. They lived apart, different states, I believe. And he just presented it to him either at Father's Day or Christmas or something recently, and so the bike is all completely restored and like new, and the dad is freaked out. He just loves it. So
you're a big softy, aren't
those
you?
Are
you
great
love
stories.
These stories.
Those are great stories. So and they're coming here this weekend, and the bike's going to be in the bike show. So if you hang around, you'll probably see him. I'll introduce you to him once I meet him. So.
That's something else that's great about the magazine is there are so many different stories from different people.
Yeah,
it's not just your perspectives.
No, I would rather. People get real tired of reading me all the time, and so we like to have outside stories come in, and that's a good one. So if you have a story, send us a note at submissions@ama-cycle.org. It's the submissions email. It's in the magazine. It's printed in the backfires page, or the back of the day section. And we will, if it's a great story and you've got good photography to back it up, we can run it. So yeah.
So for now, the magazine is safe. It's not going away.
Not going away. No, definitely not. The board is firmly behind the magazine. They realize it's expensive, but it is a worthwhile investment to satisfy what the membership wants. And the membership overwhelmingly wants a print magazine to show up in the mailbox every month, and we do that. And I think we have there's a lot of young AMA members, young racers, young motorcycle enthusiasts. And I think them getting the magazine sort of reinforces the fact that print has value, and print is a real thing that used to be a big deal. Sort of like record albums are sort of coming back, LPs.
Well, for instance, we're going to be interviewing Kayla Yaakov here. She's been on the cover how many times?
Twice.
Exactly.
Yeah. That was a great story too, because Joy Burgess, who was my managing editor and who's now marketing manager. She's been talking to Kayla and her dad Dave for a while now, and did a story on them a couple years ago, I believe. And when she sort of burst onto the high end, the super sport MotoAmerica high end this year, we thought we got to cover Kayla because she's such a hot rod. She's really, really great, and she's not a really great girl. She's just really great. I mean, she finished she's on the podium last month?
Oh yeah,
twice.
Yeah.
Whatever it was, I might have my numbers wrong, but I mean that's a serious thing. So. We're impressed. So, we want to tell those stories, whether it's professional racers or the father and the son restoration Z1 or whoever. We're looking for great motorcycling stories, and that's sort of the key to the magazine is storytelling, and packing as many of those in there, and along with the other stuff we do, which is retro bikes, historical stuff, current events, current races,
Travel.
GRD, travel, government relations stuff. There's a lot going on. Yeah, a lot going on the legislative side, good and bad.
I think in the latest episode, catching us up on right to repair.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yep.
That's a big
Yep.
issue.
Lane sharing, lane splitting, all that stuff, and the lane sharing thing has stirred them up on both sides, and it's good to see the debate. Obviously, but having commuted every day in Los Angeles for 25 years at Motorcyclists and Cycle World, I know the value of lane splitting in Los Angeles, and if it's done right, if it's done poorly, you're going to get killed, or you're going to really mess things up for everybody else on the freeway. But if you do it right and take it easy, it's really beneficial, and it's. Some people say, "Oh, it's not safe." It is safer, because if you get squished between two cars or two trucks, it's not going to be good. It's not going to be pretty. So, yeah.
Great. Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Yeah, glad to do it. Have a great time.
All right, thanks.
Yep.
All right, here at AMA Vintage Days, and I am with a very special person, a racer, a two-time AMA magazine cover girl, I'm going to say phenom, and I'm also going to say somebody to look out for, because she is fast. I am here with Kayla Yaakov. I got it right. Nice. Kayla, we just saw you over at Laguna Seca 2 weeks ago. Got to see you race. A lot of fun. You're very exciting and fun to watch. But first, we have to kind of, for people who don't know who Kayla is, the first thing people will notice is, well, besides the fact you're a female in a male-dominated sport, but that doesn't seem to change anything. Second, you're kind of young. You just turned 16?
Just turned 17.
17!
Yeah.
So you claim every year you can right now. And I'm just going to say 17, but you still look a lot younger than that.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
I think it makes it even better, because you just look like this innocent, nice girl next door, and then you get out on the track and you beat the pants off of adult men. Have you made any men cry?
That one's unclear. But I would love to know the stats on that. That would be pretty funny.
So you also have podium more than any women in the MotoAmerica series. How many podiums do you have now?
I think 15 or 17, something around there. Yeah.
That's all right. You're definitely somebody to watch. I would say you are a phenom coming up. You've been racing a long time. You started racing 4, is that right?
Yeah. I started riding at 3.5, and my first race was when I was about 4.5. Yeah.
Cool Dad Award, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then the other thing that's really cool, I think would blow people away, is how old were you when you got onto big bike racing?
Yeah, my first ever, I guess, big bike race, which was on at the time, I believe, an RS 125. I was 9 years old, and racing with Weira, and that was a pretty cool thing, because at the time, the only younger person to ever win a Weira race was Nikki Hayden. So I took that, I guess, accomplishment away, but I still, that's something that I think about a lot,
That's pretty cool. So here's a question for you. I would like to know 3 words you use to describe yourself.
I would say, aggressive when it comes to racing. I'm not a very aggressive person off the track. Off the track, I'd say I'm a compassionate person. I care a lot about people and the people around me. And then I'd say I'm really competitive, for sure. Yeah.
This is all the ingredients to make a racer. But how much credit do you give to your dad for where you are now?
Yeah, so much. I mean, he's the one that started it for me, introduced me to racing, and taking me everywhere, doing my bikes, everything like that. And on top of that, having to deal with me when I'm not at the racetrack. So, no, I owe all of my success to him, honestly. And how far we've come is the only reason we're here is because of him. Yeah.
What does he tell you more often? Do your homework or get out and practice your riding?
Probably get out and practice, yeah, for sure.
Is your little sister going to follow you?
With her, has interest more in like four wheels, and she does a lot of stuff with her four-wheeler and loves to ride that thing around, slide that around. But she rides dirt bikes every once in a while. Yeah.
So would you say you were just born this way?
I would for sure say that. I mean, being born a racer is something that I think comes with that. You know, when you say, oh, that person has natural talent, and especially when you see young kids come up, they were born to be racers, and I think that's what it is for me.
Hey, Kayla, Stumpy John here. Hey, just a quick question. So, who's your current sponsors? What team are you riding for? And who's your inspiration right now? Is there somebody coaching you or kind of investing in you as you grow your career?
Yeah, so currently I'm riding for Rahal Ducati Moto with Expel in the MotoAmerica Championship Series in the Supersport class. A lot of sponsors backing our team, backing me, specifically like Mission Foods, HJC, Alpine Stars, all the people that you'll see on my leathers and on my bike. They've made just a huge difference for not only myself but for our amazing team. But yeah,
So what bike are you on right now?
Oh, what bike? I'm on a Ducati V2. I lost my train of thought. I was like going for it, and I was like, oh, this
No,
is
you
great.
did great. And then is there somebody coaching you now, or who's kind of investing in you as your professional career grows?
Yeah, for me, it's definitely Ben Spies. Those of you who know the Rahal Ducati Moto team, the team principal is Ben Spies, and obviously he's a 2009 World
That's a
Superbike
great coach.
champion. Yeah, 2009 World Superbike champion, MotoGP race winner, multi-time AMA champion. So, when you want someone in your corner, he's one of the perfect guys to have. And, yeah, he's been a big supporter of mine for years, and, it's huge to have him there.
So, as a racer, does age and or gender matter on the track?
No, it never really matters on the track. I think the only thing, with age is experience. So, especially in the field that we have this year in Supersport, you have a lot of guys that are quite a bit older than me, racing in the class and coming down from Superbike. But really it doesn't matter. Once you're on the racetrack, everyone's there on the racetrack, and we're all trying to do the same thing.
So have you encountered any obstacles as a young woman in racing?
Yeah, for sure. I think, not only do you kind of have that doubt that comes from a lot of people, but you also get told a lot of things that are just not true. Like, the only reason you're getting to this point is because you're a girl, or then it's the opposite, like you shouldn't do this because you're a girl or whatever. So yeah, you get it, but I try not to think about it and just go out and do what I love.
Would you say there are any advantages to being a young woman?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest advantage is being able to set an example for women and an example for young girls. I think that's going to elevate, the amount of women that we see in the sport, and that's the biggest takeaway from it for sure.
So have you been around any other female racers in other disciplines, like Shayna Texter or Melissa Paris or any of those?
Yeah, racing in Spain and overseas, I got to meet Maria Herrera, Ana Carrasco, and they're both actually winning races in the Women's Cup right now. So that was definitely a cool experience. And then obviously last year, rode for Melissa Paris, and being around just a couple of female racers here and there has definitely made an impression on me a little bit, but it's at the same time we are in a male-dominated sport, so the people that I'm primarily working with are men. And like I said, trying to be that standout that allows more women to be involved, I hope to have that happen.
How would you describe your riding style on the track?
I would say it's aggressive, but it's also very smooth. I get that a lot where people will say I'm one of the smoothest riders out there. And that plays in my favor a lot, but it also can be a kind of like a double-edged sword. But I would say I have more of that newer riding style, getting off the bike more, getting my elbows out. Kind of cool when your team principal, Ben Spies, is named Elbows, so having a similar riding style is pretty funny. But yeah.
When is the first time you drug your knee, and how did that feel?
The first time I drugged my knee was probably when I was 7, when I started road racing, because I actually started in flat track, then went to motocross, and then went to road racing at 7.
So
And the feeling is pretty crazy. Yeah, when I did that, I remember I had to do a news interview like the next year or within the next few months, And I just remember I was like telling him, I drug my knee in this corner, I drug my knee in that corner. It's pretty funny, yeah.
So I said 2 weeks ago we saw you at Laguna Seca, and we're out there at the races on Saturday. And I forget, it was the second race. I just know you went, I think, a little wide in turn 2 or 3. You were in third place, 1 and 2, which was one of your racing partner, right, who won the race. It was your third position to lose. You went a little wide, and like suddenly 3-4 guys passed you. And then the announcer's like, just wait, she's going to come back. But you didn't. What happened?
Yeah, even talking with the announcers, it's Jason Pridmore and Greg White, and I've actually talked with them a lot over the past few years. I've done their podcast as well. And yeah, for me, so in the first race at Laguna, I was in a really good position. I felt really strong, especially really comfortable running in third. I wasn't feeling like I was pushing over my head. And I just felt like every lap the front end was getting worse and worse until it just couldn't take anymore. And I came into turn 2 and completely lost the front as I was tipping in. And it was really unfortunate. And I lost a couple of spots, but then I was trying to fight my way back. And at that point, the front end was just not having it. And we came into the pits after the race, and my front tire pressure went up by 5 psi. So, especially as a professional racer, that's a lot, and can make a huge difference. And that was the difference from, I believe, third to, I guess, what did I get? 8th. Yeah.
You know your bike.
Yeah.
And you know the limits. It sounds like you're really in touch with it. All right, I got one more question for you. Does being a professional racer make you cool at school?
Actually, at school, I don't go in person anymore, so technically no. But I do have a lot of friends that I used to go to high school with that will, follow my racing every once in a while and message me. So I would say it's a half and half.
So you still get to be a kid, though?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, whenever I'm home, I try to go out and do stuff. So for sure.
Well, thank you very much. We're going to be following you, and I hope this isn't too much weight on your shoulders, but we're waiting for an American to make it to MotoGP. Do you think you have what it takes?
For MotoGP? We'll try. We'll try our best. Our overall goal now is to go to World Superbike and race over there, and, seeing what we can do there. Obviously, talking with one of the best guys to talk to about this issue would be Ben Spies. Talking with him and seeing kind of where our path is after that, we'll see what we can do. And if I can make it to MotoGP, that would be insane. And I think it is something that could be possible.
I want that to happen so bad. I want you to be the next American that we.
It's Nikki Hayden.
I get delight in seeing a woman out there whipping around the track, and like you said, it's not a disadvantage. And I know you've been working a lot on strengthening, because you have to. As the men your age are getting stronger, so you're working a lot at that. You're on the right track. Best of luck. And for anyone who wants to follow you, where can they find you next?
Yeah, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. All my name, Kayla Yaakov. Some of them might be Kayla Yaakov 31, but that's all my stuff. You can look at my website. It's KaylaYaakov.com for my merchandise. And for sure, watch the MotoAmerica Championship Series, the Super Sport class. This year I'm number 19.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Do I get to ride all?
All right, so Liza here at the AMA Vintage Days for the 100th anniversary. This is kind of a big deal. This is our favorite event. Look forward to it every year. And it's an opportunity to go around and interview some people. So I'm sitting here with James Holter of the AMA. Official title?
Chief Operating Officer.
And I had a question for you. And this is something that's been on my mind. There's been a lot of events getting canceled because the cost of insurance going up so much. And it's really kind of really disrupting our industry, I think. And I've always thought, who do we go to? Who helps us with this, with these rising insurance costs? And I've always felt like it's the AMA that we need to go to, who looks after us. And so my question to you is, what can the AMA do about events being canceled due to rising insurance costs? What are you guys tracking this?
Yeah, thanks, Eliza. That's a great question. First of all, thank you for coming back to AMA Vintage Motorcycle Days. It's we love to have you here and your show here, and you give us great coverage for what is objectively an incredible event. The American Motorcyclists Association was created by the motorcycle industry in 1924. As you noted, this is our 100th anniversary. And we were created to organize motorcycling activity. And it's really, the AMA is a consortium of chartered organizations and individual members. That is the AMA. As an AMA member, you are the AMA. Our chartered clubs are the AMA. What we have in Pickerington is an administrative office that is charged with organizing the activity and the efforts and the interest and protecting the interest of those individual members and those individual clubs who are the AMA. That's our viewpoint anyway. And what you mentioned, insurance, is a very big concern for us because, as you noted, it is increasing. And it's increasing sometimes in strange ways where, what we've seen is a lot of recreational riding events actually have had their rates go up significantly more than competition events.
And these are events that may never have even had a claim.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. So the individual events may not have had a claim. Nevertheless, they're affected by it. And that's one of the things that we as homeowners, car drivers, medical insurance consumers, we see that in other areas of our lives where if the risk profile changes for everybody by the actions or just bad luck of a few, we all have to pay a little more. And what we're seeing in motorcycling, and oddly enough on the recreational side quite often, is we have activity that's outside the motorcycling activity of the event. And that activity is sometimes riskier and results in larger claims that then the attorneys for the insurance companies sometimes, in our view, we're not necessarily in favor of it, but they settle. They're prone to settle. Sometimes we like to see them fight a little bit more, but they're the experts, they're the lawyers, they know what works, and I get it. They don't want to go in front of a jury and risk a much higher claim. So what happens is you'll have these non-motorcycling accidents, or it could be a fight. It could be someone's
So by that, something that wasn't part of the organized or scheduled events.
Right. So what I'm referring to, maybe we've had incidences without referring to specifics. You can someone may steal a utility vehicle in the campground at night, and they have an accident and they injure themselves, so they sue the organizer, and then that hits the insurance.
Pockets.
Right, and that hits the insurance, and they go after the max claim if they can, and then the insurance company tends to settle that rather than get in front of a jury and risk something much larger. And that's what we're seeing happening here. And the difference between recreational and competition, it's almost a little, it goes against common sense until you think about it a little more. A lot of times what we see at competition events is a lot more organization. You have a lot of folks who are very, and by I mean the participants, they're generally very experienced. They've been doing this for many years. They know the drill. They know what to do. They come, they participate. You usually have referees, sometimes with decades of experience, organizers with decades of experience.
Well, as well as checks and balances. And as the organizers, you're showing that you're doing safety meetings, you're requiring the equipment, you're having, all the safeguards in place. You're showing that even in the wake of something happening, you've done everything you can to reduce risk, thus making you less liable, right?
Sure.
So that's what a good organizer does. But yet events are being canceled, like the Iron Butt Rally, which hasn't had a claim. And you're saying this is because other events are having these kind of claims, and are they linking it all?
Yes. So the insurance companies, so just to kind of explain some basics a little bit. So the American Motorcyclists Association, we administer charters and sanctions for the organizers. So you join and you charter as an organization, and once you're a chartered organization, you're eligible to get sanctions for individual events. And those are events that are part of our AMA recreational and competition rulebook. So if you look in each of those rulebooks, there'll be descriptions of this is what a poker run is, this is what a dual sport ride is on the recreation side, or this is a motocross, this is a hare scramble. I'm talking very broadly here.
Right.
It gets into much more specific event types in those rule books. And then you apply for a sanction for that, and if everything checks out, you're approved. And then once you have approval for a sanction, then you can access insurance in the AMA's from the AMA's preferred provider. So third party, none of the insurance revenue comes to the organization. That doesn't go to the AMA, it's all paid to the insurance provider. The AMA does not mark that up in any way.
So you're basically already advocating with the insurance companies that you're working for, and with events that you have sanctioned. And you're saying, like, we've approved of this.
Correct.
And these insurance companies understand how this works. These
Right.
are who you want to work with.
And the AMA negotiates every year with the insurance companies to keep those rates as low as possible. And there's back and forth. They will come to us and be like, hey, the rates need to be here. We've lost all this money on these claims, and this is where it is. And then we say, well, maybe that doesn't make sense. Maybe it's better here. It's a lot of going back and forth. We have internal event experts in every discipline that contribute to that conversation. And then once you are the sanctioned event and you have access to that, then that gives you better insurance. However, there are times where some individual events have had large claims, or events that are like other events, and they see that risk profile and they apply that to this event. So then the insurance company will refuse to provide the insurance. Sometimes the individual events can get underwritten individually, but then typically those rates are much higher.
So that's where AMA can come in and advocating as to what kind of event it is, where an insurance company might just see motorcycle rally and not know the difference between an ADV rally or a more of a, you can have a 1%er rally, whatever. They don't know the difference.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's what AMA can do. Are you guys going to be taking a further step into that, or just through sanctioned events that you're offering kind of a safe harbor?
Actually, we've been very proactive in the past couple of years to get our hands around this a little more. And specifically what we've done is we've created and actively manage a recreational riding commission, and or for off-road and on-road. Those are outside. Those are often organizers, or those are non-AMA staff. So these are experts out in the field who are part of these commissions, and their charge is a few things, but a couple in specific to this are to evaluate and rewrite the AMA recreational riding rule books, so that we have in there events that are very clearly defined, that are defined in a way that are safe. So we can say, this is what goes on at a trail ride, this is what goes on a dual sport ride, this is what goes on at an adventure rally. And then we, then as the collective AMA, we require our organizers to follow those rules. So if you're doing something outside of that, if you're doing motorcycle jousting, or if you're having coleslaw wrestling out in the, that's not sanctioned.
Right.
We're not ensuring that. So that's part of the education as well. And we're working with the insurance company and the organizers so they understand you have to follow these event rules, because these event rules are what inform the risk profile that the insurer is using to set the rates. And this doesn't just affect you, this affects everybody, So that's one thing we're doing. The commissions have been pretty active in the past couple years. As I said, they do work somewhat independently from staff, but we have staff members who sit in on every call to kind of direct the conversation. And most of the work in these past couple years has been with the recreational riding rule books. And then just as our competition rule books, those all go to the AMA Board of Directors, which we have an elected Board of Directors from our individual and business membership that governs the organization, and they approve those rule books.
Great. Well, I appreciate your time. I think that answers the question. I saw you guys last night. I'm like, hey, what are you guys doing about this problem? And now I know. And I think a lot of people don't always know what is going on at the AMA, what you guys are working on. That's why I always come to the source and say, what are you doing?
Yep.
So I appreciate you explaining it to me.
Sure. Anytime. Just call us up and we'll provide answers if we can.
And I would say if anyone is seeking out assistance with something like this or want to sanction their event, I know you can go to the American Motorcyclists Association website, and I've found it there myself. All the information is there.
The most important thing to do is to call up AMA staffer by the name of Joe Bromley, and he will have all the answers.
There you go.
So Joe's our program development manager, and whether it's competition or recreational, he can get you set up. He knows a lot about the insurance game as well.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Hey, it's Bagel coming to you from the infield at AMA Vintage Motorcycle Days. I am here with a brand new rider. Could you tell us what your name is?
Yeah, my name is Ivy Clement from Columbus, Ohio.
Excellent. And how old are you?
I'm 14.
And what brought you here to Vintage Motorcycle Days?
Well, my dad has an acquaintance who rides, so we thought, why not come? I mean, I love dirt bikes. I never ridden one, but I love them.
Cool. So you've never ridden dirt bikes before, and you're interested in getting into dirt bike riding then?
Absolutely, yeah.
Have you ridden any sort of motorized bikes before?
Technically, yes, but only for a few seconds.
Okay. And what is it about motorcycles or dirt biking that interests you?
Well, for me, the appeal of dirt biking is I really like going fast. I love the thrill.
We can all relate.
Yep. Yeah. And I love riding mountain bikes. So I thought dirt biking is probably really similar, just motorized.
How long have you been mountain biking?
I mean, I've been racing for 4 years, but I've been biking as long as I can remember.
Wow, very cool. So it sounds like you're ready to make the jump into the next level of motorized two-wheeled fun.
Yeah, it's the gateway drug,
right?
Mountain bikes.
So what kind of plans do you have for the future with motorcycling?
I don't know. I'm thinking maybe in a few years, once I have maybe a car, I don't know. I might not get a car. I might just get a cheapo motorcycle, maybe a dirt bike, because it's cheap, it's small, easy to store.
Excellent. And this is your first day here at Vintage Motorcycle Days?
It is indeed.
And what do you think so far of everything that you've seen and taken in?
Well, so far everything has been chaotic, which I love. I love chaos. I love chaos. Don't get me wrong. Mm-hmm. Chaos is my whole thing.
Right. That's your jam.
Yeah, that's my jam. I think it's fun how, unlike mountain bike racing where you have to, walk your bike in the pit zone, you can just ride anywhere you feel like.
Cool. Excellent.
The seemingly lack of rules.
Yes.
All right. Well, thanks for taking the time to talk with us, and I hope you have a great time here at Vintage Motorcycle Days and get a chance to ride some more. And and also there. Before I forget, there is a dirt bike camp that is here called DC Dirt Camp, which
in fact, we're standing in front of it right now.
Yes.
That is true, yes.
And they are giving dirt bike lessons here at Vintage Motorcycle Days for riders who are interested.
Yeah, in fact, I've had a bunch of different people come up and tell me, you got to go meet BJ. You got to go meet BJ. I'm like, who's BJ?
Yeah.
And I thought this was a cool thing, using a section of grass in the middle of the track that normally isn't used. She set up a little dirt bike school here and is doing dirt biking lessons. Unfortunately, you're not able to go out and ride, but let's go over and meet BJ, and you can sit on a bike.
Yeah.
And she can give you some tips and first little non-riding lesson I think would be helpful. You want to try do that?
All right, that sounds good.
Let's go meet BJ. BJ. We're coming over to BJ. Tell us a little bit. So you do DC Dirt Camp?
Welcome. Yeah, I'm BJ Hessler. Started DC Dirt Camp in 2018. It was really born out of my desire to create some riding friends. I was riding street, and a lot of people that are riding street are super scared to let the bikes slide around under them, and I was one of those people, and I learned the hard way. So I started the school to help a lot of adults transition, and I've now started working with a lot of beginners. We do a school in Virginia, kind of in between DC and West Virginia, in that gap, where people come out and learn how to use a clutch. So that's the big thing, is it's a pretty high barrier to entry to get into off-road riding, or to get into riding at all. You got to buy some stuff, you got to buy some gear, you got to have a truck or a trailer, and then you got to figure out where to go. So I saw an opportunity not only from the business perspective, but really from the get more people onto wheels perspective, by removing those barriers and providing the bike and the gear and the land and the opportunity for as cheap as I can afford to do it. But yeah, it's
I hear you have a checkered past on scooters.
I do. That's on the down low. I am a scooter girl too. Yep. It was kind of the joke bike. I lived out in Denver, and I was an SV 650 rider, and I was like, oh, I'm a tough moto chick. And then I saw a pink scooter for sale, and I was like, but I could commute on that.
Bagel couldn't be happier.
I still have a pink
One
scooter.
One of us.
And Bagel saved me on that scooter. We left it on somebody's front yard, and my first meeting of Bagel, I got to wrap my legs around him and ride on the back all the way back to town, didn't I?
Well, I know for any good dirt biking class, it starts just sitting on a bike, and I'm wondering if you can give our friend Ivy here some tips.
Yeah, I'm glad.
Come on
you
over,
started
Ivy.
with sitting on it. So, Ivy, this is actually probably too small for you, but we're going to start on this side. Come around to the kickstand side, and what I start everybody out with in class, before you even throw a leg over. Yeah, we do a whole bunch of stuff before you even throw a leg over, because this bike is going to squish. Even under your delicate frame, the suspension's going to sag a little bit, and if you have that kickstand down, now you have to be super tall to get the kickstand back out of the dirt before you pull off. The other reason is, once you sit down, if the kickstand doesn't sink, it's going to push the bike over sideways.
Yeah.
So I need to know that you know what to hang on to before you're even 1 foot up in the air. So, do you know where the front brake is?
That would be this.
Yes. You had a 50-50 shot. Good guess.
Well, it's not a guess. I'm a mountain biker. I know
Oh,
this.
there you go. Cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, go ahead and hold that front brake for me. And now you're just going to push the bike up so it's holding its own body weight, not leaning on the kickstand. Keep squeezing the front brake, and look under your armpit and swing that kickstand out of the way with your foot. There you go. So now the bike is holding its own weight.
Yep.
And I want you to look out in the distance. So this is going to help you have good balance. And you're going to swing your right foot over and go right to the foot peg. There you go.
What a natural. Look at that.
There it is. Absolutely. So you got a lot of distance from your butt to the handlebars, right?
Yep.
And your arms are really straight. So what we're going to do is scrunch all the way up on the front of the bike. Bring your butt way up here. Yep. So your knees should come all the way to the front here. Awesome. Ball of the foot, just relax your heel down. Nope, ball of the foot on the foot peg. There it is. Because you're actually going to be pushing with that foot. Can you push with your foot up like that?
Push down.
It's a little weird, right? So now, yeah, try to get that little bend in the foot. You're steering with your feet on a dirt bike. Kind of like when you're pedaling. On your mountain bike, if you push down, you know the bike's going to go that way, right? Mm-hmm. So you have to kind of counter a little bit of your weight. We do a ton of that in off-road riding. Oh, I like what I see. She's immediately sawing the handlebars back and forth across your body. That's how we corner. Because go ahead and turn the bars, full lock one way, and full lock the other way. If you could immediately be pedaling fast with the bars like that, where would you go?
Onto the ground.
Absolutely. We call it folding the front end.
Yep.
Because the front tire wants to go this way, the back tire wants to go this way, and you just whoop, and it somehow throws you down faster than gravity. So
Yep.
we work a lot on standing posture in my class too. So I'm going to hold you up. You trust me?
Sure.
Silly girl. Awesome. So she got right up on the foot pegs. Now go ahead and stand all the way up and let go of the handlebars for me. And now drop your heels a little bit and just hang out like you're standing in the grocery store line. Just relax.
Check you out. You look comfortable.
Exactly. That's where we want to get when we first start standing. Most people stand in the position you did at first. Go ahead back to that position. Her legs are bent. You're holding your body weight with your quads, right? That's going to get exhausting. And I know you're an athlete, but enough days of this, and this would be absolutely exhausting. So we're going to stand all the way up and let your bone structure hold your body weight. So straight legs, drop those heels, and your hips, knees, and ankles should be kind of stacked up over that foot peg. Are you good?
I think so.
So now keep your hips right where they are and just fold forward at the belly button. Chest up, butt out. Arch your back a little bit.
Chest up.
Chest up. Up. Yep, there you go. Getting that arch. Now the last trick, can you wave both hands? Yeah, you had to push off the bars a little, didn't you?
A bit, yeah.
Because we want to keep all the weight down into your feet so that your hands can stay light, because you're going to have to be doing a whole lot with those hands.
There it is.
Yeah, the knee squeeze is essential. Excellent. But now, if you're going here, see how your body weight comes back?
Yep.
Get your head right over those handlebars. So bring your butt forward, head forward. There it is. No weight on the hands, use your abs. And now, if you throw you off balance, you're using that core and the legs to steer the bike. Awesome. So say you get thrown off balance and you gotta sit back down. Go ahead and find a seating position. Slide all the way up, all the way up, all the way up. Elbows are up in the air. Beautiful. We do this elbows up thing, not quite so extreme, because we want to have a flat wrist. You're going to have to kind of adjust where your hands are so that you have a flat line this way. That way, when you have impact and you've got your clutch or your brake, you've got a nice strong forearm and wrist. If you're reaching up or you're reaching down, there's like a cable in here, right? Your tendons are pulling around a corner. You're going to end up with more muscle fatigue and a weaker impact point. So we always want to try to keep those elbows up, because you're going to go seated, standing all day long when you're riding different terrain. Probably the same in mountain biking, right?
Yeah.
You ever ride seated mountain biking?
Yeah, sometimes.
When do you sit?
Mainly when you're climbing hills.
Climbing hills. I do the same thing on a dirt bike. You guys go ahead, stand up again. So now pretend the front end came up to here. Right, and all of a sudden the front end would get super light. So to keep your body weight forward on the bike, you might want to sit down. And now if the bike came up under you, you're still weighting the front end without using all that pulling power to keep your body weight going forward.
Yeah.
So, Ivy, how much of this is familiar to you from mountain biking?
Almost all of it.
Interesting.
Nice.
So you think she'd be an easy learn on this, huh?
I think so. Most people that ride mountain bikes have one really good positive habit and one really bad habit. The good habit is they read terrain and their eyes process information to their muscles faster than the rest of us, because they're used to obstacles, right? Like stuff in their peripheral vision, trees and whatever. Us street riders, we're like, oh my God, a tree, where's the clutch? Like we forget everything we've ever learned. The other piece though is, I believe, is one of these your brake and the other one a different brake on your bike, right? Mm-hmm. For us, we have a rear brake on our foot, and that is your clutch. So I do see a fair number of people grabbing their clutch thinking they're going to be braking. Yep. So we have to retrain that left hand to do the whole clutch thing.
So I'm wondering if we can close this interview out by teaching her one other skill that doesn't translate from mountain bikes.
Awesome. Yeah.
Can she learn how
Go ahead
to
and put your feet down for me?
Do you know what it is? Nope.
What's that?
Teach her how to kickstart.
Ooh.
Everyone needs to learn how to kickstart. Does this have one?
This does have one.
Okay.
It's an emergency one. We're so lazy up in here. We get.
This is a skill every motorcyclist should have.
So don't kick it through yet. Let's talk it through what we're doing, because you still got a key. So unless this key is on, the bike wouldn't start.
Yeah.
But say your battery died and this no longer worked. Hang on, let me make sure you're in neutral.
Yep.
So
Just so you know, I mean, this is like real biker shit right now.
real deal.
Hell yeah.
So if this button didn't do anything, we'd be like, oh no, how do we get this thing started? You either grab two of your friends and they push you down a hill and you try to bump start it, or if you're lucky enough to have a kickstart, you got that part right. You already opened it up.
Yep.
Now the hard part is if the bike is really tall, because you're only going to be able to stand on your left foot.
Yeah.
Left foot's going to be on the ground. And go ahead and stand all the way up on that left leg. Stand up. Yep. And now you got to get your right foot really high. Now this is making me super nervous to see you kick a bike with a naked shin, because what that lever is going to do, go ahead and do it
flip
super,
right back up,
just
isn't
do it really slow.
Children are quick
So you
healers.
see the range of motion. Just go ahead and push it all the way through if you can. Real slow. Yep. And now look where your shin
Yeah,
is.
look down.
So if you kick hard and you slip off that lever, you're going to nail your
kablam.
shin into that foot peg.
So don't do that.
So don't do that. So you don't, this bike is very forgiving.
Yeah.
You don't have to get too crazy with it, but you can just go, and we'll see if it starts. If you hear the engine catch, you're going to hang on to a little bit of throttle.
Yeah.
This is your gas pedal.
And it's in neutral, correct?
Let's double check. Roll it. Yep.
Cool.
All right, first kick. Let's do this.
Nope. All at once.
You want to like your
As soon as you make contact, you literally kick.
oh.
Let it come back up. Let it come back up. Let it come back up.
Yeah.
Heck yeah! That's it.
Awesome,
now let's get
Ivy.
all these fingers.
Yeah.
Fingers on the grip. Don't worry about that front brake for now. Give it a little rev. Little dab will do you, huh? Now let me see if you can bring it up just a couple RPMs and hold it there. Don't let it go. Don't let it go high. Just hold it a little bit. That's the harder part of riding right there. If you can hold that, you can ride anything.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, BJ. Thank you, Ivy. Did you enjoy that?
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we'll keep working on getting you on a bike. Thank you guys very much. Bagel, thanks for finding Ivy. What a great find.
Yeah, my pleasure. I'm really glad we were able to connect you two, and this is fantastic.
And BJ, time to plug. How do people find out about you?
DCDirtCamp.com.
Hey, Liza and John here.
Hey.
At AMA Vintage Days, one of the cool things is there's a lot of test rides. There was Royal Enfield, Yamaha, and Triumph. And so John and I, we thought, let's do a bike review. And we were first talking about bikes we wanted to ride. And then I said, you know what, maybe we should do a review of bikes we don't want to ride.
Exactly.
And I realized as we were going down the line at Yamaha, I'm like, well, you know, I've tried that, had one of those. I would never ride that. And I think you kind of did the same thing,
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
So we decided to take those bikes we were not looking forward to riding out on a ride and see if it changed our minds at all.
I will say the countryside was beautiful.
Oh, yeah. Amish cornfields.
Incredible.
Yeah. So I ended up on the Yamaha R3. This is, for people who aren't familiar, it's a small 331cc or 323, something like that, 6-speed sport bike that oftentimes is referred to as like a learner bike, just a fun little sport bike. But I don't like to fold up that small anymore.
Yeah, you look like a kind of a monkey humping a football.
You know what? My sport bike days are behind me,
Yeah.
unless it's, you know, like something big and really fast that gets you in the seat of the pants.
Yep.
But still, so something small that folds you like an accordion, I wasn't excited about. John, what did you choose?
I chose the Yamaha Bolt R Spec. And it was, I'll say that. So it's a cruiser style. They say it's cafe style, but I don't believe that. It's much more of like a Sportster kind of copy. And it, it's put together well. But there's not much of a soul there.
So I'll tell you the one thing I like about the Bolt. I like the concept.
Yeah.
That we're going to take an engine that they have in other vehicles, other bikes, right? Using the same engine. And create a bobber-like bike that also comes with a multitude of accessories so you can really personalize it, turn it into what you want. Much like the Harley community already does. They recognize that. So I like the concept, but I've not ridden the bike. So how did you like it?
Not much. So it was a I did get an E for effort, Yamaha. Much love going your way, but I mean they took some of the. I mean it's belt drive like a Harley is, which is fine. I don't have a problem with that. It's heavy. It's heavy like a Sportster. It's 542 pounds. It's 942 cubic inch or cc.
Also 5-speed.
Yeah, why did they put a 5-speed in that? Why not a 6-speed?
I don't know.
It just, as somebody who now has a Harley, and I'm not Mr. like you got to have a Harley guy, but you ride a Harley, and we rode Triumphs too. They both had soul, but this bike didn't have much of a soul. I mean, I'm sure it would last forever, but that So the engine was a little uninspiring for me. It didn't just have a punch and a sense of like gruntiness that even a Sportster has.
It's almost a leader bike, and it didn't have enough.
No, it didn't have enough. And the other thing I really disliked was it's almost like they split the difference between forward pegs and kind of normal neutral pegs.
Standard, yeah.
So it was just like, it was weird. It was like slightly forward, but not like so far forward. And it felt like it felt like a compromise between the two, but it didn't work. So either pick one or the other. Don't try to split it in the middle and make things worse. Now, ground clearance was great. I mean, it looked great. It was put together well. It was a quality bike. I could tell that. But boy, I just was uninspired by it.
So, you didn't enjoy the ride and the comfort, the formation. Who do you think it's right for?
It'd be a great bike for a newer rider, for sure. I actually would recommend it for a newer rider because you're not going to get in any trouble. The engine's not going to overwhelm you.
942 cc's.
The brakes were kind of meh on it also, which I didn't love. Compared to, we were the Triumph. We'll talk about that in a minute, and everything was really kind of dialed in there. So new riders maybe. But I don't think if you're a Harley aficionado, this is not a good step down or step up. It's just. It needs soul, is what it needs.
Well, so I tried out the R3. I had to fold myself up. I got on it. I happened to be in the number 2 rider position, right behind the ride lead.
So you won or didn't win?
This is actually a race. But I thought, you know what, this is a great opportunity because he was on like an MT10 or something. Hi, Simon. That's Phil's cat, Simon, announcing himself. Hi, Simon.
Hi, Simon.
So I decided, you know what? I'm going to ring this thing out and keep up with him every time he pulls away.
What was redline on that?
It was like 12,000, I want to say.
Yeah, I bet.
It was pretty high. So I decided I'm just going to like...
And it's a twin, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I'm going to pretend I'm on the track, and I'm going to ring it out. I even I was doing the speed shifting where you preload the shifter and just boop it, the clutch, boop it, boop it. And it was kind of fun. And I saw we would pull away from the rest of the group a little bit faster, And it was really light in the turns, but it was a lot of work to ring it out.
Was it?
It was. I wasn't on the track. Here's the thing. There were moments where I could imagine myself riding this on the track, and then I go, no, if I was on the track, I definitely want at least a 400 or something.
Ninja 400.
Just something that I don't have to just hurt. I felt like I was trying to hurt it, you know? Good little bike, put together tight, but not for me. Probably not for an experienced rider. Probably not for a large rider. But you know what? I mean, I remember riding the Ninja 250 and going, "This is a cool bike." The Ninja 300, R3. The R3, I'm like,
So you would pick a Ninja 300 over this?
No, I'm saying I remember riding a Ninja 250 and being impressed, saying it felt like it had more power than it should have, but not. I think I'm going to fall kind of neutral like you. It did not change my mind. I was not overly impressed. This is not a bike I'll own. So this is probably a really bad review idea. But you know what? I think it was cool that we did try it, and I think the point here is there are a lot of people who dismiss a bike that without ever trying it,
right,
making assumptions about it, which we both did about these bikes. And I think that when you have test rides, this is a perfect opportunity to actually confirm that and try it.
I mean, the specs on this on the R3 aren't bad. I mean, 42 horsepower, 36.7 torques. It's light, 6-speed gearbox. I mean, those are all positives.
Sorry, we're still coughing up VMD dust.
Exactly. So yeah, I mean that's that. But
yeah,
it's for somebody, right?
But here's the thing: I did ride a bike that I really enjoyed.
So did I.
That I could possibly own one day.
Right.
So I went over to Triumph. Now Triumph was really cool. Instead of doing lead rides, they just gave you a bike. It was like whatever's available, just to hop on and take. And it was a self-led ride. Just follow their signs. And it got pretty spirited because there were long stretches of straight roads that you could really whack it. Not that you should, not that we did, but you could
if you wanted to.
Hypothetically. So I asked them which is the bike that that is being least requested, and they said it wasn't actually the smallest bike because those are the new 400s because they're new. People are trying them. It was the Triumph Tiger Sport 660. Hi, Simon. Hi. The Sport 660 because 660 is not falling into a little too small.
Right.
People want something bigger. They want 1,000, you know. So I took that out for a test ride. And I will say that Triumph has successfully made the Versus. It's exactly what it was. It had very similar riding position, very similar features, very similar feel. It just has a Triumph badge on it. It was, just like the Versus, a completely adequate bike that will do anything you need it to do. That was pretty quick and nimble. It was a little tall, so it didn't drop into turns that fast.
Right.
But the engine was blast.
Like a Versus.
Like a Versus.
Yeah.
So they made a Versus. So what did you try?
I took the Triumph 400 Scrambler.
I took that one.
I know you did too. I went into this negative.
Really? Why?
Well, it's made by Bajaj. It's
Wait, I saw them in the factory in Birmingham last year when I was there.
Yeah, they're made in India though.
But they had them on display there. Yeah.
So, and 400 is kind of a weird, I don't know, street bike, CC level. You know, it falls into the Ninja 400s, but it's really not. It's more of a standard. So, so I was not excited about it. But when I got on it and rode it, it was good. I mean, the engine was snappy. I mean, it's got lower horsepower specs than the R3, but it had good mid range. It pulled really well. I hit the rev limiter quite a bit of time, but it felt like it had more to give if the limiter wasn't there. The handling was really good. The brakes were outstanding. I was thoroughly surprised and impressed by that bike.
Interesting. I liked it too. So they had the two models. The Scrambler, and then I'm trying to look up what the other one is.
Yeah, I was on the Scrambler.
The Speed 400.
Yeah, same engine.
Yeah, same engine. Speed 400, just a little more street bikey. The Scrambler, a little more scramblery.
Wouldn't take it off road. I know that.
No. Fun riding position. You know, I didn't mention on the Tiger Sport. it had a small windshield.
Was it useful at all?
It was so useful.
Oh, good.
And I could tell the difference because when I got on the Triumph, the 400 with no windshield, my head was just getting whipped. So even though that was a really fun engine, nimble, you could whack it up really fast. It wasn't pleasant because you're just exposed. But it was a bike that I found, unlike the R3, I found, I can just have fun. I can just have fun. Let's go.
I thought about like where we live in the mountains, Santa Cruz Mountains. That bike is flickable, and it could be a lot of fun up in the hills.
I asked another person who had just come from a test ride what they thought of it, and they said, it reminds me a lot of my DRZ 400.
Man, I wouldn't go there.
I would in the engine. The DRZ 400 is a fun engine. But
my DRZ's got the pumper carb and the sort of all in the pipe and all that, so it's probably not fair. That's my reference point, and
yeah, but I'm using that
a stock one is probably a little more comparable.
I think that 400 is the bottom of this will give you the feelies when you take off, where the 300 didn't.
Yeah.
And so the DRZ can give you that it's fun.
And the Bolt gave me no feelies.
The Bolt gave me no feelies.
No feelies. I was looking for feelies. I couldn't find them.
So I loved it. So the Scrambler, I didn't say. So the Tiger Sport 660, 6-speed, 455 pounds, a list price of $9,700. But now the Scrambler 400X, 6-speed, 395 pounds, and a list price of $5,600.
I mean, you could get that, or you can get a KLR. I mean, that's an argument right there.
Exactly.
I mean, if you don't want to go off road with a KLR, get that.
They've come in at that
Yeah.
old technology price.
Right.
With a brand new bike, with a brand new engine that it puts out. It does.
Did you switch it to sport mode?
No.
Yeah, I did.
I didn't know it had a sport mode.
Yeah.
Maybe it already was in because I was.
Yeah, it was in road mode when I picked it up, so I switched
I
it.
was following it. It's self-guided tour. But I caught up to the guy who had left before me, and then we both caught up to the couple who had left before us. Passed
But
them.
this was not a race, right?
Not a race. And then we caught up to the guy who had left before them. So we both kind of were doing Spirited, and he was on one of the bigger bikes, and I'm like, I'm just going to keep up with him. So, I really liked the Triumph 400. I think this is a bike people need to go check out.
I mean, I got that thing up to 85 miles an hour, no problem.
Yeah.
With my fat ass on it.
I think this is the perfect third bike.
Yep. I agree with that.
Right?
Yes.
If you have maybe a big bike that you can do trips on and a dirt bike, and then this thing just to be the fun, hop on, whip around, do fun stuff.
Or if you're starting out with something like a Rebel and you want a good second bike, this could be a decent second bike for you to have after you sell your Rebel.
Sure.
Because it's just enough of a step up.
Well, anything you want to add to our review?
The one thing I appreciated about both bikes that I rode was it didn't try to kill me like Phil's scooter did.
Oh.
That thing, man, I thought I was going to eat it.
Yeah, we'll tell that story. Well, there you go. Highly recommend the Triumph Scrambler.
Way to go, Triumph.
Good job. All right, check it out. Well, there you go, John. What a cool bunch of interviews.
What
an
an eclectic group, too,
I know.
between racers and AMA
folks and Ivy.
Ivy. How fun.
So here's a follow-up. Ivy, she's so cool, right?
Yeah.
She ended up coming back to our camp and hanging out with us. And an amazing thing happened. Another kid who was hanging out with, I think his dad was there at our camp, named Carter, who was 13. He got one of Cinch's little mini bikes.
The SRS?
SSR.
SSR, yeah.
And taught her how to ride. And she started like tooling around all the campgrounds on bikes. Happy as can be.
That's so awesome.
And then I came back to the camp and I was like, hey, Ivy, you want to go see a death metal mosh pit? And she's like, hell yeah. And I'm like, come on, hop on. And she's like, no, I'll take this. And she hopped on a dirt bike and takes off after me. I'm like, what? What? When did this happen, right?
Yeah.
And then I took her down to the burnout pit, stuck her right up front. Oh, my God.
You didn't throw her into the barrel racing?
No. She had So much fun. So shout out to Carter for teaching Ivy to ride and
Good
for
job,
making
Carter.
another biker. I wanted to also do a big thanks to, we talked about some of the listeners, all the listeners who were there. There were Motorcycles and Misfits
They were
t-shirts
everywhere. It was awesome. Thanks for wearing them.
It was really cool. Thank you so much. Big shout out, of course, to Phil,
God,
the host with the most.
Yep.
If it wasn't for him, we wouldn't be here. And I told him, I'm like, thanks for your hospitality for us, and then for the people that we bring, and then the people that they bring.
Exactly.
It's like I brought Wendy into this, who then brought Kelly into this. It was so funny. So
Thanks
big
to
thanks.
Sleepy showed up early to make sure with Wendy to secure the spot.
Yeah.
And Tom and Becky.
Oh my gosh.
Such
they have
great
upped
hosts.
the game.
Yeah.
They make a professional kitchen in our neighborhood and feed everyone.
Right. It's pretty amazing.
Oh my gosh.
And it was great to see Johnny Mac come by.
Johnny Mac and Piper.
Yep.
Dan
Kromke was there.
Yeah, Harley Bob.
I love me some Harley Bob.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
It's like a family reunion.
It really is great.
And I wanted just to give just a big thanks to the AMA for putting on such a cool event.
Biggest one ever, I heard.
So, I'm just going to say, we know that years back there was a burnout contest where there was MotoGP was naked and on fire.
Yep.
And there was some video that happened to capture Rob Dingman, the president, in the audience, because some of them, they take off all their AMA gear and they sneak in just to see what's going on.
Right.
Because it's so much fun. It's so much fun, and they love seeing that everyone's just having fun. And Saturday night, I was in the at the burnout pit in the tent, and I saw Rob Dingman.
He was there again?
And I went up to him, I'm like, haven't you learned your lesson? And he said, these are not the droids you seek. He waved his hand in my face and walked away.
Good one, Rob.
That is awesome. That is so awesome. And that's something I love too, that fun spirit. They're not taking it that seriously either. They're letting us have fun.
Right.
They know we're having fun. They're not sanctioning some of the stuff that's going on, but they allow it and love seeing everyone have a good time. And we, in turn, are respectful to each other.
It's fun to hear Brock talk about it, too. It was his first time there.
Yeah.
That was neat.
So, big thanks to everyone.
Yeah.
Oh, man, we got to wait another year now.
I know. Countdown begins.
You have not been to Vintage Days.
You got to go.
Need to put it on your calendar next year, for sure. And that's an invite. I'm extending an invite from Phil to you through me. There you go.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone. Time to get out of here.
Let's go.
This is Eliza.
Stumpy John.
And we are out of here.
Cool.